Hi, I'm Dr. Naresh Trehan, Chief Cardiac Surgeon and Chairman and Managing Director of Medanta, the Medicity. So today we are talking about our current challenges that are facing all of us, not only as the country, but more so the healthcare professionals who are on the front line of the war against COVID-19. So as we say in this new normal, there have been a lot of changes that have affected the healthcare delivery system and the healthcare professionals on the whole. So what we have now found, and we mean not that this is all new thought, but it was already in the back of our mind that the power of telemedicine, the power of IT, the power of AI was to be incorporated into the healthcare delivery system, so that the patients could access healthcare in a more transparent, in remote manner. So this pandemic has actually forced this to happen in short order, which is a good thing in a way, because today if you look at the comparison between before COVID, we were doing as Medanta, which is now being judged as one of the best private hospitals in India by Newsweek, we were doing about only 100 teleconsults or video consults a day between all of us. Today we are doing upwards of 500 consults a day. So that means all those patients who are actually getting advice remotely can access us from where they are, from their home, from their nearby center where they can access telemedicine. So all these things have become available today. Now also a very good thing that has happened is that the young are all tech savvy. Even the children in the villages are able to connect their parents on Skype, on Zoom, and we have been successful in doing complete teleconsultations with these people remotely. So then of course there are enabling diagnostic devices like the electronic stethoscope, the electronic blood pressure monitor, SpO2 monitor, and we can look at through the scope, we can look inside the eyes, inside the throat. So all these things have also become enabled, which has happened in the last 3 to 4 months and are available in far corners. So I think in a way it has been a big challenge. It has done a lot of devastation around the world, but at the same time it has forced us to come up, innovate, so that we can cope with this. And eventually, even post-COVID, it is going to help us and the patients, so that just to be able to get a consult from the world's expert, they don't have to travel 1,000 kilometers, 500 kilometers just to face the doctor. You could get your full consultation. Yes, we believe that 50% of the patients eventually may not have to be touched, and we can do it remotely. Only when they need to come to us for a procedure or for some tests which cannot be done sitting at home, then of course they will have to travel. But it is not that they'll have to travel twice, they'll have to travel once, because all the appointments would have been made already before they come. So it will save them a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of pain. So with the onslaught of the pandemic, there was the whole foundation of the country, including the healthcare delivery system, got shaken, including the doctors, including the paramedical personnel. So what happened was we had to prepare ourselves for taking care of COVID patients. Now there was very little experience and very little equipment available to fight this virus, which is very dangerous. So what happened was, one thing good, that industry, medical profession, generally the scientists, we all came on the same platform to create the infrastructure for one, healthcare delivery, two, the enablers like PPEs, protection kits, N95 masks, ventilators, all the hand sanitizers. This was all done very quickly by repurposing some of the industrial strength that India has. You could see a car company coming together with an inventor of a ventilator to create a ventilator. So now we, in short order, we became self-sufficient. So what it has done that Some of the changes, as I said, will become part of our life as we move forward. The new normal, and we don't know when this is going to be able to come to an end. We thought that it's going to be for 3 months, and now we are sitting at end of 5 months, and we still don't know the end of this pandemic. So there is a lot to be learned. There will be a lot of changes as we move forward, but in many ways we will be better, more efficient, and technologically more savvy, and much more self-dependent as a country. So, of course, you know, this is our first bout with this kind of pandemic. In living memory, there has not been a pandemic. The last one was the Spanish flu, where Spanish flu was, you know, in a medieval time in a way. Now, of course, with communication being the way it is, travel being the way it is, you know how, see, if you look at the history of how it happened, it was discovered in Wuhan in China. Now, it is an unsettled question whether the virus was man-made, whether it escaped from the laboratory, or did it actually mutate from an animal to a human being. This mystery has still not been solved. I am not sure when it will be, because the Chinese have not given access to the laboratory in Wuhan, where we believe this virus was probably actually already created or present or mutated. These are all mysterious things. But going beyond that, we have to know that as we move forward, what are we going to do? First, we don't know when it's ending. There is no cure. The only thing that we have today is that the population of the world, and if we come back to India, the population of India actually has to help to control this disease till we find either a vaccine or a sure cure, or we have, I mean, it's delayed so much that eventually we develop herd immunity. So today where we are better off than we were 3 months ago. Today we can treat patients much better than we could before. We have been able to understand the pathophysiology of the disease. We know when to intervene with what drug, and again come back to the fact that we are waiting. So if you look at the end result of this, is that today the mortality will be controlled well below 2%, and only most of the mortalities will be in people who have multi sort of factorial disease, where they have comorbidities, they have had asthma, I mean lungs compromised before, liver, kidney, you know, some sort of compromise in your body, so that even the stress of COVID today will throw you over the edge. So with that, I think that the new normal is here to stay, and that new normal is basically that you have to wear a mask when you're going out, you have to maintain hand hygiene and distancing. If you can do these 3 things, you are not only going to help yourself, your family, your community, and your country at large. And if the world actually practices this caution over the next 3 to 6 months, we should see the end of this problem. You know, one thing that this pandemic brought to everybody is how fragile is the world's healthcare system. So if you bring it to countries like India, that we found that there were such huge gaps that we would not be able to take care of patients in large numbers if they appeared. So a lot of repurposing, re-engineering and new developments were done, and right now we are right on the edge where we are able to cope with what we have, but God forbid if this explodes further, there will be a huge problem like happened in countries like Italy, cities like New York. We may have similar problems. So far we have been able to contain it. So it showed that we are very wobbly, and we must be prepared in a much stronger way. We must be ready for these kind of things to happen, because these viruses can mutate. Now, like somebody described it, not somebody, Tom Friedman, who is a famous writer for New York Times, he said, this is a war between Mother Nature and Father Greed. describing that today we had gotten so involved in chasing material goods, destroying the environment, not preserving some of the essentials of survival on this earth, and that Mother Nature is taking revenge right now, and there is a lesson to be learned. So I think how it will change us medically, it will be that we will be much more prepared with all the attendant medicines, the logistical system, training. We need many more doctors around the world. So we will pay more attention to education. We will have many more medical schools, many more nursing schools, many more technician schools. So all this is going to happen. I hope it will happen, and the governments will have to reprioritize their whole system, because this is not the end of it. There will be many more pandemics coming, and that's why I think we should first respect our environment, preserve the beauty of nature, consume less, pollute less, and damage the environment much less than we have been doing. So if we can do that, one, there will always be a proportion to life. We will learn to respect each other, the nature, and protect ourselves. So I think there is a lot of benefit that can come out of this tragedy. It has brought the whole world down on its knees, and we can all rethink our priorities. We can rethink what we did. We can rethink what our future should be, and we should also rethink what kind of future we're going to leave our future generations. So time to actually reflect, time to prepare ourselves for the future, and eventually emerge as a much stronger humanity. I think that's where we should be.